Hello and welcome to Code to Thrive. In this video, I want to talk to you about the changing bargain in the workplace. So this is a message for business owners, managers, leaders, employees, anybody working in the workplace right now. The rules are changing. There's a reason why these things are happening in the world right now. Why we had lockdowns, why people are working from home. We're reimagining what the exchange is. Simply put, here are my hours and I want money, or give me money in exchange. That's done. Now it's, listen, I want to do what I'm really good at. I want to embody my passion and my natural genius. And I want to be paid for it. That's the bargain. Companies that understand that are going to be ahead of the game. Now, what does this look like? What does this sound like and feel like and smell like? Well, for one, open communication. I always talk about we have these vertical communication structures, meaning you have to go through a hierarchy. You can say things to your manager, but you can't say things to your manager's manager. And you definitely can't say things to the CEO. That's changing. We are going to horizontal structures now of communication and control. Meaning you can sit around the table with your manager and the rest of your team members, and everybody's speaking openly. And although there's a recognition that your manager is going to have different responsibilities, he or she is going to be responsible for the output of the team and for making sure that, quality is assured and whatever it is that the team is producing. But there's something deeper. There's a level of vulnerability that needs to come in, that's asking to come in, where you can share what's on your mind. Oftentimes in business, there are little things that we sit on that fester. And when they fester, not only does it suck being the person that just you're frustrated, you're carrying something, your manager said one thing and then they just changed their mind and they didn't let you know why. They agreed to something, and then 3 days later they just went a different way and they don't let you know. Or an owner that does that. And this line really brings it home. Well, I'm the owner, I pay the bills around here, so you better listen. Or you don't really have anything to say because I pay the bills. And it's interesting, I'm reading this book, or I've been really dealing with this information, the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace, and they shared some really interesting data, and one of the points of data they share, and I believe this is the number, 79%, I believe it was, 79% of employees, this was a study done with 200,000 employees, so this is data you can use, that 79% of employees, the reason for them voluntarily leaving a job is because they didn't feel appreciated. Financial reward is 8th on that list. What that means is if you're not appreciated in the workplace, you're going to leave. And appreciation comes in many ways when it comes to the 5 languages of appreciation, very much linked to the 5 languages of love, by the way. Do you want quality time? Quality time with your manager. Do you want to sit down one-on-one with a manager and have him or her listen to you as you describe what's going well, what's not going well, and be heard and be empowered to potentially make changes? Do you want quality time with your colleagues and not necessarily with your manager? Appreciation. Words of appreciation. Words of affirmation, right? Gifts. Now, funny enough, gifts, tangible gifts, only 8% of people have that as their favorite language of appreciation. So it just goes to show, how is your company appreciating you? And as a manager and a business owner, how are you appreciating your people? And this is what it comes down to, guys. Without your people, there's nothing. If you have, let's say, a medical clinic, If there's no equipment but the people are there, you can make something happen. If the equipment is there and the whole clinic is there but your staff isn't there, you got nothing. It's like if you have a guitar there, it doesn't really do much. You need an artist, a musician to use the guitar. And what I'm saying with this is it's not hard to show appreciation for your people. And why do we do this thing? And this is another big thing, and I'm wondering what you all think. This is something I ran across when I was working in corporate. It's like, why do we have these job descriptions that are so rigid, and then we try to ram someone in there instead of looking at someone's skill and then creating the role around it? Now, this requires some flexibility, and this requires a culture of open communication. But the way I see it is that you can take a small team, let's say 4 people and a manager, and they're responsible, or you are responsible for making something happen, right? You have a specific task. Things need to happen every day, every week. If you have this horizontal communication, this empowered structure, culture in your team, and you want people to be in their zone of genius, right? Now, human design is a great tool for that, right? Especially through the VG5, which is the business and career application of human design. We can look at your gates and your channels, which we call traits and strengths, and look at how are you meant to contribute in the most aligned way to a business environment. What you can do is when you have people in their zone of genius, it's be like, okay guys, what are the processes that we're using? What are the tasks that have to happen daily and weekly? Let's throw everything on the whiteboard. We're in a conference room, throw everything on the whiteboard. Considering most people there are going to be generators or manifesting generators, it's all about doing what you love and loving what you do, or rather what gives you energy and what takes energy. What's a yes and what's a no? Paul, the generator. Paul, go up to the board, all the stuff we need to do in a day, or in a week, or in a month, and grab what gives you a yes. Okay, great. Thank you, Paul. Mary, go up there, grab what gives you a yes. Now see what's left. Now you can automate that, you can delegate that, you can bring in someone else into the team that gets a yes. There's many ways to work together, and that's the whole point. It's engagement. Employee engagement is a metric that is hugely important to a company, and it affects everybody, because if you're an employee too, I want to be engaged. I want to feel like what I do matters. I want to be appreciated. I want to be heard. I want to be in my zone of genius. Right? What are my strengths saying? Maybe I'm someone that has, what is it? I'm forgetting channels. Channel judgment, right? I can see things that need to be corrected. Invite me to speak on those topics, right? What's my communication going to be like? Through the human design, for example. But I want to be appreciated. I want to be heard. I want to be seen. I want to be given the opportunity to be in my zone of genius. And I want my colleagues to be experiencing the same thing. Because the truth is, guys, if you were spending more than half of your waking hours at a company with other people, wouldn't you want it to be the best place with the best people possible, where you can be in your zone of genius? This is your second family. And this is what I mean with the transformation that's coming. This is the changing in the bargain. We are human beings. We do not hang our humanity on the coat rack when we enter into the door of the when we open the office door. That's not how this works. There needs to be vulnerability and open communication, and leadership needs to do it first and needs to do it often. And sometimes it takes someone else to push those buttons. I remember having a review meeting back in my old job. And I had my manager, my manager's manager, and my manager's manager. So my manager, N+1, N+2. And I could accept a lot of things, but the teamwork, they had something to say about the way I was in doing the teamwork. And I understood what they were saying. Maybe in terms of output, I wasn't really there, but in terms of support for my team, seeing them, inviting them, reassuring them, helping them where I could, I was giving it my all. And when I wasn't seen in that, that was the killing blow for me. And I remember just disagreeing with all of them. I'm like, no, 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 no. This is not how this works. This is not how this works. I don't feel seen. I don't feel like you hear me. And you're not putting me in my zone of genius. You're not seeing that. And I saw it over and over again. I saw people join the company, all excited, fired up to make that contribution, to be seen, to be heard. And then within weeks, the energy is gone, the excitement is gone, the enthusiasm is gone, because the communication isn't there, the culture isn't there, that horizontal hierarchy isn't there. It's a vertical one. And it's trust too. Trust comes in. Do you trust your employees? Do you trust your team members? As a business owner, do you trust the people there? And if you don't trust them, that's an issue. And to be able to work with trust, you need communication. And as an employee, do you feel like they trust you? Why can't you work from home once in a while? Especially if you're a projector in the human design, for example. I know I work better that way. I always share this practical experience that I got more work done when I called in sick and I really wasn't feeling well, and I would work from home. I got more done in half a day than I did healthy at work, because I like being in my own environment. The human design tells me what my best environment is. It's being in my own aura, or working one-on-one, not in an open layout with 80 people. That drained me. I remember taking the elevator up to the 4th floor to go in this open workplace layout, and I just had to, as the elevator door was about to open, I would go, oh, here we go. That's why I'm saying this whole like, I'm gonna trade you my hours, like no, this needs to change. We need to go towards something different where we empower people, that you feel empowered, you feel engaged, that you feel heard and appreciated, that you can be vulnerable. Mistakes too are fantastic. If you're not failing, you're not growing. If you have a culture that doesn't appreciate failure, you're failing as a business. If your people can't speak up, you're failing as a manager, as a leader. Leadership is failing. I will stand by that day in and day out, because when people are appreciated and when they feel engaged and when they feel they're in their zone of genius, man, it's a game changer. So to you I say, show appreciation in a way that people want to be appreciated. Let people know how you want to be appreciated. You can look to the 5 languages of appreciation. I'll put a link down below. Human design is another great tool to understand how you're designed to communicate, and also how you can best receive communication, and what your zone of genius is. Human design is fantastic for that. And there's many other tools. I will share them down here too, if I can think of anything else that would be in alignment for all of you. And that's it. It's not hard. It's communication first and foremost. It's vulnerability. And this is an interesting stat for both employees that are afraid to speak up or employers. Replacing an entry-level employee can cost anywhere between 30 to 50% of their gross annual income. Meaning if you make 50,000 euros or dollars, it costs an employer up to $25,000 to replace you in recruitment fees, lost knowledge, having to get you up to speed. Apparently it takes anywhere between 7 to 9 months to get someone fully up to speed. Middle management is 150%, and upper management can be up to 400%. If you're an employee that's afraid to speak up, take that with you. Take that with you. Let that empower you to speak up, and don't be afraid that they're gonna just fire you. Now, I will say, I was sharing this, and this person was nodding, but they said, yes, I feel you, 100% I agree. But you know what? In my last job, when I was working for the government here in the Netherlands, I felt whenever I shared vulnerability, when I embraced my vulnerability and I shared, it was used against me. It's like, what would you do in that case, Diederik, as business consultant? What would you do? And I was like, well, first of all, I tell you that's, between you and me, that's not a healthy environment to be in. And if you ask me if I would come in, I'd put the whole team there, and it's like, okay, guys, well, apparently there's a culture here that if you share from a place of vulnerability, that's going to be used against you. Do we all agree on that? Is that the case? Do you want that? Why do we not want that? How would you like to see it differently? Of course, even before this, have conversations one-on-one with everybody to determine and ascertain how everybody feels about this and what has come up, and then bring the whole group together. Because, guys, again, whether you are an employer, an employee, a business owner, a team manager, for the love of God, you're spending all of your time with these people. Wouldn't you want them to be your family? And even if they're not people that, maybe you don't 100% get along with them, that's okay, but at least let there be communication. Don't let little things become big things because they fester. Be able to communicate them, right? That's the biggest thing I find as a consultant. Someone brings me in, oh yeah, we don't have problems. There's no conflict here. And then I start asking questions, and within 20 minutes of a one-on-one conversation, I start hearing all kinds of things that are festering. There doesn't have to be fire for there not to be smoke. And if you as a business owner or a manager are tired of constantly putting out fires, it means there's embers that are burning that need to be extinguished. And to do that, you've got to bring stuff to the surface. And to do that, you need to have a culture of open communication, of honesty, of vulnerability, because sometimes it's tough to bring these things up. I'm going to be honest, it takes courage. And it has to come from leadership. Leadership from this book, I love this book, the culture code. How do you build successful teams? And whether it's the Navy SEALs or Pixar or any of the successful companies as a leader, you have to be vulnerable first and often. This is something all the time. People ask themselves, am I safe? Am I emotionally safe in this company with these people? Am I safe? Our minds and our brains are constantly wired to figure out, are we safe? Okay, I'm safe. Am I connected? And do we share a future? Are we going to the same place together? Those are things that need to be continuously reinforced over and over again every day. And that's where open communication is the foundation for that. And it seems simple, but it's shockingly lacking. So I'm curious to hear what your experience is with all of this. Let me know what you feel. If you're an employee or an employer, how that is. Your pains, your struggles, your triumphs, your achievements, your joy, your frustration. Lay it all in. I'm curious to hear what's going on in your lives and how this shows up practically in your life. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.